beautiful story. I think that, this was a day that was very dark and very tragic, and nothing will take away from that and from remembering the victims of that day. But at the same time, there was something really beautiful that happened out of that, out of this tragedy in another part of the world. There was this outpouring of humanity and kindness. And I thought it was really important for people to see that even on one of the darkest days in history, people still will open their doors, open their hearts, help each other. And that's what's going to win over hate or the awful things that happened that day. And it made me very proud to be a Canadian, to see what my fellow Canadians did. And I wanted to share that story. And in my line of work, the best way to do that is through a musical. Well, the writers, David Hein and Irene Sankoff, went to Gander, Newfoundland on the 10th anniversary of 9/11. They spent a month there meeting. There was a big reunion that year. Many of the passengers that were stranded there came back. And David and Irene got to meet so many of them, as well as the locals that opened their hearts and their homes. And it was developed over about 4 years. First, we developed it at Sheridan College with our students. Then the incredible Broadway producers, Junkyard Dog Productions, got involved, brought on a Broadway team that further developed it onto its professional premiere. So it took time to discover what stories would be told. But one of the most beautiful things that the writers achieved was that they really are telling thousands of stories. You really do get a sense of all those stories. And because it's all based on real people, we had the opportunity to do the show. Before the show went to Broadway, the Broadway company did the show in the hockey arena in Gander, in concert for the people of Gander and the surrounding towns. We were very nervous about it. How would they react to their story being told? But everybody believed, and by the reaction from that performance, that David and Irene got the story right. And everybody felt represented. Everybody felt that their story was shared. So it's a magnificent tribute to the work that David and Irene did, and the creative team, and what the actors bring to the story. It's what makes it so engaging and so compelling to watch.
One of the amazing things about the show is that it will change location very quickly. We see passengers on the plane, then suddenly they're on the bus, then suddenly they're at the school or being taken care of in people's houses. So the music does move very quickly and swiftly to allow those changes to happen and to highlight them happening, which is great. I think the challenge for the band and for the cast is in the speed with which it's delivered, that it is narrative storytelling at its true best form. And so I think the challenge is to keep the speed and the pace up, but at the same time keep that very real connection with the audience. It's unlike a lot of music theatre in that the characters in the piece tell their experiences very directly to the audience. So as an audience member, you feel like you are part of that evening and you're the ones that are being told that story as if for the first time. So I think the challenge for everyone is to keep it fresh, keep it moving, keep it honest, and keep it truthful. We were asked the same questions when we started performing the show in Australia. Would Australian audiences respond to a story that occurred in a tiny island off the top of Canada? And it's proven, for 5 months that Australian audiences have really, the stories have really resonated. I think the location is specific and unique, but what actually is at its heart is the way that people interact with each other, and that is universal, and we're really excited about seeing how the Chinese audiences respond to the story, and I'm really confident that they'll be as moved and as overjoyed by the story that we present on stage.
The main thing compared to other characters that I've played is that she's a real person. And as an actor, there's a completely different responsibility that you feel when you're portraying someone that you have to be somewhat accountable to. And but we're very lucky that she is a huge supporter of the show and couldn't be more generous with her time and guidance to the many actresses around the world now that have the honour of playing her. I was very lucky before the rehearsal period that I had the honour of meeting Beverley and spending quite a bit of time with her. So I was able to speak to her firsthand about her experiences and observe what she's like when she's in work mode, and then just casually sitting down and having a cup of coffee with her. So that was very valuable. The other thing that was very useful was we had a 4-week rehearsal period that was very intensive, and because our creative team had already been so successful in putting up the productions of Come From Away on Broadway and the West End and Canada, it was very finely tuned the way that they could all collaborate in giving me information as far as my physicality when I'm playing Beverley, which is very different to the other characters. There's a real strength. Her accent, the Texan accent, which may have been easier for my American counterparts to pick up, but as an Australian accent, learning all of these different American accents was a challenge. But yes, I was given a lot of guidance from the creative team.